Back again with another series. This time we're going to tackle Wordle. Um, this should be relatively about the same kind of complexity as Yahtzee in my last series. There are a few more things we can add for this game, especially I added scoreboards and things like that. So we can cover that if people want, but we can just build out the game and go from there. This episode, we're going to cover just setting up the board. We're going to have the alphabet on the bottom, and then we're going to have all the rows and columns of the guessed letters. So basically, your basic board setup, and we're just going to dive right in. So right off the bat, we have the import tkinter as tk. We're building that basic skeleton that I always have when we are using a tkinter project. So we have the window is equal to tk.tk. We're initializing it. For this one, I did add a title. So at the top of the window, it will say Wordle. I added a background color, and then this font tuple I just added just in case we want to use it. It saves us some step when we build labels and things of that nature. But if we ran this right now, we'd get this nice little blue-gray color with Wordle on top. So that is what this would run right now. And now we're just going to kind of elaborate on this code. I like to push that main loop all the way to the bottom to give us some space to work with. Usually we will not write outside of that main loop. Off the bat, we're going to start with as word var is equal to string var. We're just initializing that so we can use it later. We have rows is equal to 6. We have columns is equal to 5. And we have all spaces is equal to this. You can tell off the bat that rows and columns, that creates the guesses. So basically there are 6 guesses that you have for Wordle, and then you have 5 columns for the letters of your guess. So let's continue on down. We are going to start with the alphabet board on the bottom. And I'm just going to copy some of this over from my other document. I work out of a Windows creating all these, and then I recreate them over in Mac. So bear with me. We are not using these alphabets. So we have this, and I'm just going to add this right here and just say alphabet labels, and I'm just going to write down here, and there's a little bit more work we have to do on this, but and I'll step through it, so feel free to take your time, pause if you need to write this stuff down. So basically what we're doing, we have 3 variables at the top, t, y, and z. That is just for iterating, so we can space out all of our alphabet. And then we have this alphabet list. If you notice, I did not do it in alphabetical order. I did it in keyboard order. That was just me going down the line, typing them out. I felt like it was easier than me going around the keyboard typing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But to each their own, you can do whatever you like. Excuse me. We have for X in range of length alphabet lower. So we're just taking this, and there's going to be 26 letters as we know in the alphabet. So you could just put 4x in range 26. I just do it this way to keep it consistent. We're going to do the standard var 2 is equal to string alphabet lower x button. Alphabet lower x, since we're iterating through, it's going to be Q button, W button, E button, R button, and so on. And we can kind of show you that as we go through. We're going to just print the standard V2, var 2. And with this first little area, we are going to hit, if x is less than or equal to 9, we are going, and you don't need this, it's just me testing it out. We're going to initialize that standard var2 into an actual variable. We're making these all labels. We're in the master window. We want it to basically read the letters that are on here, so Q, W, E, one at a time though. So this this one's going to be a Q, the next one's going to be a W, and so on. We're setting the width to 3, height to 1, border width is 2, and the relief of the border is going to be a solid border. Configured, we just do light gray with the black font basically, and then the standard var2 grid, we're going to put on row 9, column T, which will be a 0, and we are going to then just patty 10-1. So with those brackets, what it's doing is patty, pad Y, it's the Y axis, so up and down. We're going to pad 10 above and then 1 below. Same with the pad X, we're going to pad 1 to the left, 1 to the right. So that's just kind of shorthand for that. And then we're going to iterate T plus equal to 1, so it's going to be column 0, column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on and so forth. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but again, this is just how I code. So we're going to do, after this, and I like to add one more space just to help with the eyesores. And we're just going to do, if it's greater than or equal to 9, and x is less than or equal to 18, you can go ahead and just copy what we did up here, paste it down here. We're gonna do a Y, so make sure that column Y, and we're iterating Y, and then make sure that row is going to be 10. And then with the pad Y, we're actually going to do 1, 1. And then the last thing we're going to add is this column span. And this will just give it a nice look overall. So we're going to do a column span is equal to 2. And then I think that should be good. We're now going to do another elif statement. And give me just 1 second as I look something over. Okay, we're going to do this elif statement, and we're going to just do x is less or greater than or equal to 18, and x is less than or equal to 25. And then within this, and you'll see it when we run it, but we're going to do if x is equal to 22, so on the 22nd one, we are simply go ahead and just copy this out, and then make sure it is indented correctly. And this is going to be z plus equal 1. So we are going to throw that z plus equal 1. This is going to be a z right here. This is going to be 11, and this patty is going to be 110, and the column span is actually going to be a 4, and this width is going to be a 4. I believe this was going to be, it's going to pull out one letter and make it just a tiny bit different, so it makes the board feel a little bit more, less of an eyesore, I guess, for lack of a better word. I believe it's going to be the letter V that's going to do this. And then we're going to copy this, hit the else, and then you can paste it in. I really did not need to do that if statement right there. So else, we're going to do we're going to do all that. And actually with the z plus 1 equal on this else statement, we're actually going to put it out here in line with the else. And this column span is actually going to go back to a 3. This width is going to go to a 3. And that's going to stay at a 110. That's a row 11. Z da da da. And that should be it for that. So let's go ahead and run this. Invalid syntax. Oh, because I have that colon there. That was weird of me. If we run it now, string var is not defined. That is the error I am getting on line 8. And if I go up here to options, I click on here and go to line numbers, line 8. Let me see what is going on. Oh, that is why. You can't initialize that without a TK. A silly mistake. We're going to save it. You can see all the buttons are creating QWERT all the way down to M. And that's what we get off the bat. You see that V is stretched out a little bit. That is the 22nd letter. So that's why we have that if statement right there. So you can kind of see how that makes it fit in a little bit more and how everything's kind of waterfalling down into this. You could probably make this look a tiny bit better. This is how I like it. But yeah, you could probably space these out just a tiny bit more if you wanted. It's all just kind of trial and error. But we have that part done. Let us now create the actual board. And this is going to be a little bit different. But it is, I think, pretty efficient and cool. So we're going to just space down this alphabet labels. I like working from the top area. I'm just going to paste this part in. It's going to grab the row and... Actually, no, we don't even have to start there. Let's start with... we're going to do for I, row, in, we're going to enumerate, and we're going to do range of rows. Again, it's pulling that rows from up here, so in range of 6. And then we're going to do for J, column, in, and we're going to enumerate, range, and we're going to do columns. From here, we're just going to do a variable is equal to string I plus string J. It's not super creative, but that is how I did it. And then we're going to do that standard var. Standard var is equal to, and we're just going to do button plus variable. And now we're just going to, actually, if you really want, just grab one of these from down here. We're just going to make tweaks to it. Make sure it is indented correctly. It's going to be in line with that variable. Instead of standard var 2, it's just going to be standard var, because that's what we're initializing up here, standard var. And then we are going to do the text. Just delete all this, and we're just going to add an empty quote. Width will be 3, height will be 1, border width will be 2, relief will be solid, and we're just going to add state is equal to disabled. And then we're going to add our command equal lambda. And again, we went over this a lot in the last series of the Yahtzee series. Lambda I like to refer to as like a don't run this function unless clicked. It's like a wait until, that's how I kind of envision it. And we're going to set this var is equal to standard var, and we're going to run that one function that I started to type out, but we'll get back to it. And I just want to double check that closes everything. It does close everything. And we're just going to go right back into it. We are actually going to make this background. I'm making it a hex color. We're going to just do 2E6, and you can make this whatever you want. This is just what I made it. 276. Foreground, I did black. We did this. Again, you can replace this font with that font tuple that we did up here. I do not. This is just what I do. You just erase this and put font tuple where I have highlighted. And then row is actually going to be I. That's why we're enumerating. And then I did J plus 2. We're doing a column span of 2. And then I did no pad X, and actually for pad Y we're just doing a standard 2. So it's going to do 2 up, 2 down. So save, And last but not least, what I always do with these is we're just going to do all spaces dot append, and we're going to do that standard var. Run it. Let's see any errors or anything like that. We do. We get this command. Let's see here. We get the unknown option because it's a label. That's on me. This cannot be a label with a command. It has to be a button. So make sure you change this with the for I and row. It's going to be a tk.button. Now when we run it, hopefully no errors. We get all those. And you see now we have the board. It's a little bit ugly. Again, I natively code in Windows and bring it over to Mac. It looks a little bit cleaner in the Windows environment, but this is what the standard board would look like. And you can see you can expand it. It just doesn't dynamically expand. But really, I made this to be discreet at work so I could play Wordle without other people looking. So this is kind of what we're looking at right here. Last couple items I want to cover, and then we'll call it for the day. We're going to just put under here, we're going to do a submit button. And again, it's going to be all that standard stuff. So if you want, you can copy from other things. I'm just copying from my code for today. So master equals window, you can just get rid of master and you can just put window if you want, just shorthand. Text is equal to going to be submit. I have the width to 6, height 1, a lot of this, and we have this submit function right here. I made the background green, all this, 7 for the row, column 3, column span 4, 0, 10. If I ran this for you guys, you'll see the submit button. Always takes a second to load. You can see I have the submit button right there. Lastly, actually there's going to be, I'm going to add a couple functions before we finish up, but lastly we are just going to, and I'm just going to copy and paste this over. We have this type submission. It's going to be an entry. We've not dealt with an entry before, but it's basically for the user to type in. Window, background light gray. We have this text variable, which is word var, which we initialized up there. Font, this, just add all of this kind of stuff. I do a focus, and then I bind it to this return submit. Before I run it, we have to add these functions in. So let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and add def submit. And in here, you're just going to do args. And I added the, for right now, really all you need for right now, but let's add them all because we are going to need these eventually. Global word var, submit button, type submission, submit limit. Some of these don't exist yet, but don't worry, they most likely will. Word is equal to word var.get. And we're going to print word. Pretty simple for now. And then lastly, we are going to do that def board position. We're going to pass that variable. And we're going to do global row and column. And I'm just going to copy this over. I don't think this does like a whole lot for us right now, but just to keep it in sync, we have this variable is equal to global's var, and basically we're just finding out where that is in our system. We'll use it later on, but right now just initialize it, have this function. It will help us locate where the letters and everything are. Let's see, if I run this, I think that's all I wanted to cover. But as you see in here, we're getting all the button names. This is what the product should look like right now. And basically, if you start down here, I hit enter. That's what that one button does when we bound it down here. That return submit, that is just hitting the button, or you can hit the submit button, or you can just hit enter. It will do either. So that's all that I have for today. Next stop will be basically what I type in here, adding it to this up here, and then marking it with colors. And then it'll do the same thing kind of down here, just to show you what letters you have available, what's left, what letters should you avoid. Awesome. Thank you for sticking with me. Let me know in the comments what you like. Let me know in the comments what word you'd like to start off with your Wordle guesses and things like that. Awesome. Thank you for sticking around, and have a good day, and I'll be back with more.